3:05 p.m.
It's worth recalling the part played by Hurricane was numerically superior to the exhibit tried during that time. Only This is the Historic Aircraft Collection's Hurricane repainted for this Battle of Britain anniversary year in the markings of an aircraft from number 303 Polish Squadron, which was abandoned by its pilot Sergeant Kapitaniec Wuncher over Poynings in September 1940 after sustained damage from the Luftwaffe Messerschmitt Bf-109 in a combat over Duxford. Thereby, HAC recorded this aircraft. Fact that the Battle of Britain was a battle for more than just Britain, by more than just Britain, contingent of Poles that took part, the largest of any overseas nation that contributed. big fluid which was lined up on the glass runway that was ready to take off. Because of course there was a very strong family resemblance in this pairing. Design team led by Sydney Cam developed the Hawker line of biplane fighters and then acquired the Hurricane. And indeed, as the Hurricane runs through and off downwind land from the ground. Quite beautiful pair of intervals, there's a couple of questions, and then debuting this weekend the historic aircraft collection Port of Fury. Around Duxford in Northern, we have a box of baggage, Port of Fury, 2 Superman Spitfire 1As, and 4 modes of Superman 1A. With the rich set for the historic aircraft since Duxford. With all its units we're about to witness running in air from the most marvellous formation from the aircraft circulation after all historic trials of the plane and those 2 Spitfire 1As.
I had a change seat board like that. I put it on the ground to do something and I thought it was in, I saw that it was broken.
You don't like that, do you?
Oh!
No, it's to break your heart. Yeah.
difficulties with the airplane closures, it would be simply loaded when the applications for the industry into service as an RAF bomber in October 1946 post the war. The Blenheim was then active as a fighter and sought there in Blenheim 1 fighter configuration. Four examples with the long nose. And after number 139 squadron was on a reconnaissance service on the go board the 3rd of September 1979. And the first British aircraft to overfly Germany following the start of the war. The following day, aircraft of units based at RAF Aviation in Suffolk carried out Bomber Command's first raid of hostilities when they attacked the German fleet in port at Wilhelmshaven. Losses were serious, yet showed the pace of aircraft development, but Blenheim crews of all RAF operating commands in all theatres fought on heroically. This one, resurrected to fly by the Aircraft Restoration Company following a landing incident at Duxford in its previous life, as it were, as a Blenheim 4, was originally built by Fairchild in Canada as a Bolingbroke, the Canadians' name for the type. Made its maiden flight and been reconfigured with a short nose as a Blenheim 1F in November last year in the hands of John Romain, with also on board engineer James Gilmore, and once again it becomes the sole airworthy Blenheim or Bolingbroke in the world. The two Spitfire 1s that flew with it in an outstanding formation, also redolent of that early war period. The one that landed first, N3200, served in period with number 19 squadron at Duxford until it was shot down and made a wheeled-up landing on the beach near Sangatte in France 75 years ago tomorrow, 25th of May 1940. It first flew last year, also in the hands of John Romain, the second of the two Mark 1As, P9374, another veteran of the Battle of France, and the evacuation of Dunkirk 75 years ago this week. That aircraft was down 75 years ago today, the 24th of May 1940, in the hands of pilot officer Peter Cazeneuve, who made a forced landing on another French beach just north of Calais. A splendid way to remember the events of 1940 with those three exceptionally historic aircraft. The Blenheim, painted as a number 23 squadron, which advanced and had the own number 23 squadron, Blenheim 1F, for which the nose was taken post-war to be the home-built electric bubble car. It was recovered, its identity was found, photographs of the original Blenheim with that nose on it was also located. Sword and put on the airframe as part of its restoration, and the results we see flying in public for the first time this weekend. But now about to run in, we go back once more. We go back to into war years, and another splendid formation, making its debut on the airshow circuit this weekend, the historic aircraft collections Hawker Fury. It is led in by the Gloucester Gladiator. The harmony of the Bristol Mercury engine of the Gladiator and the Rolls-Royce Kestrel 2S on the Fury. This not only the world's sole airworthy Hawker Fury, but the world's sole Hawker Fury. Another tribute to the aircraft restorer's art. In this case, the restorers of Retrotech and the historic aircraft collection that operates it, real masters in the restoration of Hawker biplanes. Two aircraft that split the Furies down behind us to go and hold while the Gladiator runs in. Meanwhile, the Blenheim shutting down, a tribute to John Romain, to Smudge Smith, to all the crew at the aircraft restoration company who will put it back into orderly condition. The Shuttle Collections Gladiator, this is an aircraft that spanned the interwar period into World War II and really was indicative of the changing of the guard from the monoplane to the biplane, or rather the other way round. Because this was the RAF's first fighter to enter service with an enclosed cockpit, but it was also the RAF's last biplane fighter. It was developed by a team from Gloucester's, initially as a private venture evolution of the earlier Gloucester Gauntlet. And that was an aircraft that saw extensive use at RAF Duxford between the wars with number 19 Squadron. The airfields, I said, are fighter station from 1924 onwards. Flight space here, the likes of Armstrong, Whitworth Sixtings, Bristol Bulldogs, and then the Philippines. In fact, the prototype Gladiator was exhibited at a major event staged at RAF Duxford in July 1935, the King's Royal Review of the Royal Air Force. However, in the air, Duxford then held sway with the squadrons. That until the Gladiator came into service use, which wasn't until February 1937 with number 72 Squadron. Something of interim measure this aircraft. But there were delays to the monoplane fighter programs, so the Air Ministry ordered Gladiators to make up for those hold-ups. Upon the outbreak of war, the shortcomings of this last biplane fighter became obvious. 4 RAF squadrons were still flying them as of September 1939. 2 of them were sent to France. Within 10 days of coming up against the Germans in May 1940, all their aircraft was in the race. That same year, Gladiators of number 263 Squadron RAF and the Royal Norwegian Air Force were involved in attempts to defend Norway against German invasion. They too suffered some grievous losses. Nonetheless, those aircraft claimed 26 Luftwaffe kills. Gladiators fought in other theatres, the likes of Greece, North and East Africa, the Middle East, and in Malta. Some of its most famous exploits in the latter theatre, of course. The aircraft and the shuttle the last production Gladiator 1. He is figures in the pre-war markings of number 73 Squadron as flown by Cobber Kane, a New Zealander who became the first RAF or Allied ace of World War II and the first recipient in the war of the Distinguished Flying Cross due to his actions in France. He was killed in a hurricane accident before the Battle of Britain. Another set of interwar machines now getting airborne. First of all, the little red black aircraft, Newcomer to Duxford, the Tramway Type R, followed by two Duxford will be parents of Oliver Gillen Perfect, who go to the visitor centre. That's the parents of Oliver Gillen Perfect, who go to the visitor centre. In many ways, one might describe the Fury as the quintessential interwar RAF fighter. Part of that famous line of water biplanes started off with Kurt Light Bomber, flown inaugurally in 1928.
This thing's coming to fly back as well. We've also two more new ones.
This aircraft grew up from a 1928 submission by Hawker for a new RAF Interceptor. That design was radio engined, but with Rolls-Royce's new V12 engine subsequently dubbed Kestrel, its performance was transformed. Declared on 25th of March 1931 at Brooklands, famous Hawker. And this was the first RAF fighter capable of exceeding 200 miles an hour. It was something of a benchmark, but the Hurricane was the first to exceed 300 and interfered just 4 years later. Stories given by Furies at air shows such as London Pageants and Empire Air Days